my sitting duck stamp here, so I'm going to have a go at colouring this one. It's a little difficult in that I actually want the main duck to be white, but I don't want it to be, well, just plain paper white. So this time I'm going to try using my Memento black ink for stamping. Actually, what I'm going to do, thinking about it, is I'm going to use my watercolour brush pens for this one. I'm going to stamp another one and then have a go at colouring that in with alcohol markers. So I'll put that one over there. And yeah, it'll just be interesting to compare the two. I think the best thing I can do for the actual duck body is just a very, very light blue. I don't really want to go down the grey route, so a very, very light blue might do it. Heron blue, that might do it, or I could use a sky blue. I think the heron blue, which is number 40. A little bit of shading underneath his beak, or her beak, whichever it is. Not exactly going for realism here. I'm just going to do that for the body, I think. Right, for the head, I think I'll just go down that side there. I'll do a bit on that side of the wing, a little bit on that side of the wing, and a little bit there. I may or may not need to do any more colour, I don't know. Just putting some water through my brush, there we are. And I'm going to start off by just putting a little water of the actual body to make the paper wet. Bearing in mind, these are watercolours, and in order to use them, we need, wait for it, water. So I now need to work on this one. Allowing that to dry is the best bet. So I want a really, really pale marker. And one I know which is really, really pale is this one, which is the dark blue light. In fact, it's so pale you can barely see it, so I think I need a light blue as well. Right, I've got some possible markers here, and I'm just going to have to colour swatch them. I'm going to go in the same sort of area as I did before. So just up there, a tiny bit on the wing, and a bit around the edge of the body, and the beak, a little bit on that wing there, very little, and a little bit around there. And I'm going to go in with the dark blue light because this one is virtually colourless. It has very, very little colour in it. I'm going to see if I can possibly blend this out. I'm not sure, however, how wet this one is. It feels a little dry. So I'm going to go over the rest of this. Over time, usually the dark blue light generally fades to almost nothing. He looks quite fun. Okay, so we'll see how that turns out. Now, what am I going to do next? I think I'm actually going to do the eye colour next. I'm going to go, I think, for an olive green. Yeah, this is olive. I need to work out what colours I want to do the beak and his feet, and they'll probably be the same. So I'm thinking probably deep yellow and marigold, which is 32 and 33. And I'm going to go around the edge of the feet with the marigold. And do the other one. it's just so easy to do. I'm going to use the same technique for the beak. I'm going to start off with the beak this time. Having done the colouring on him, because he's so bright, I'm probably going to have to go in with another layer of colour on his body at some point. But this one is almost done. It does have a really, really nice watercolour look. I don't know that you're going to be seeing the colour very much on camera apart from the yellow. It's there and it's subtle, and that is exactly what I actually wanted. But I'm not sure that you can easily see it. Here we go, here are my two sitting ducks, and I shall cut those out and use them on a project later on. I like the way that both of them have come out. They both look a little different, and bearing in mind this is actually on watercolour paper, not a smooth cardstock, which is what you should be using alcohol markers on. It hasn't come out too badly. But I really do like the very gentle look that I've got with this, where it actually does look like a white duck, but there is some colour, some shading on it. A bit of an experiment going on here. This is a piece of really awful watercolour paper, one that I did a test swatch of recently. If you haven't seen it, go have a look at one of my recent videos on water brush pens and whether you find them difficult to use or not, and you'll come across this stuff. So this is, as I said, a very awful watercolour paper. So I got my watercolour brush pens, my Chromatex. Now the Chromatec pens are brilliant, I love them, but this paper is the problem. But for what I wanted to do today, this might just happen to work. So I just scribbled some colours over the paper, and I made the paper really, really wet. I mean, it's still wet now, but it's made really, really wet, and I just went over it with my finger to just sort of smudge the colours a bit. So this is still quite damp, quite soft, and I just see if something works. Now I've got some acrylic paste here, which I messed around with because I put some glitter and various bits and things in it. So I'm actually going to see what happens if I can get a nice looking background by spreading this over while it is still wet and then allowing it to dry. Mainly because I'm impatient. And also because this stuff is quite stiff, so I thought the fact that the paper is damp might actually help. This stuff is almost dried out. So again, that's one of the reasons why I decided to use it, because I figured, heck, if it's going to dry out, I better get and use it before it is all wasted. So get some on the edges here. I think I got most of the edges covered. I've got a glass worktop saver on here, so I'm not doing it directly on my desk, never fear. Okay, I think that will do quite nice. Actually, I think it may end up looking quite good. We shall see. I think I need to add a drop of water to this because it's getting so dry. Got some water on my desk as well. Yeah, probably need a bit more than that. That should do. I have a coffee stirrer here. I bulk buy coffee stirrers for art use. They're quite handy. Get them in the local Chinese shop. You'd never guessed, would you? Get everything in there. Right. I still need to clean off that worktop a little bit. I can see clumps of glitter on it. Actually, I'll probably have glitter on here for a little while. I won't be at all surprised. So that, I think, is actually going to look like a really pretty background. So I might well do some more of those. If you're wondering what I added to this, I purchased this original item in Lidl quite a long time ago. It's called 3D Deluxe, and it was kind of like a sparkly texture paste. But I decided to add a few other bits and pieces into it. So I added some glitter into it, but I also added some tiny little mylar flakes. And those are the things that really make this pop. And I don't know where you normally would buy them, perhaps nail supply place, that type of thing. But that's what I added in there, just in case you're wondering. So I'm going to leave these to dry, and I'm going to get some more paper and basically do the same thing with some different colours. Earlier today I did some backgrounds, and this is one of them. This is the grey silvery one that I did, and I've put these on corresponding bases simply because quite often I end up doing a white background or a white base. Thought it would make a change to do something different. Now when I had these dried, they were curled up a bit, so I put them through my embossing machine just with a flat plate and flattened them out somewhat. And then they were still very slightly curved, so I simply laid some of them down on the embossing plate bed with the foam pad over the top and the harder pad over the top of that, and just stuck the embossing machine on the top because it's heavy, and that flattened them out beautifully. Left it there for an hour or so. So that's the first one. Then we have the one that I did with the watercolor brush pens, and that is really quite beautiful. Very nice and glittery. Then we have one that I did again with the inks, deeper colours, and then we have this one. I think this one's actually my favourite. It's unusual colours for me to choose, but I really rather like that. I did some hippos the other day, some Dr. Hippos, which I think are quite cute. Look at those, aren't they sweet? But today I actually drew a couple of ducks. and I rather like these. So this one is the watercolour one, and this one is the one that I did with the markers. So that was done with watercolour brush pens, that was done with markers. I think both of them are nice. It just depends on the effect that you're after. I did go back into this one after it had dried and put another little layer of blue in because it wasn't quite pronounced enough, but I'd rather go in with the second coat than make it too heavy in the first place. So I really like these. I think they're great fun. And I came up with some sentiments because I thought they looked kind of a bit sad and bedraggled, perhaps. And I came up with some sentiments to go with this. So we've got someone ruffled your feathers with a question mark. Need to see a quack. You need a spa day. Ruffled feathers, there's a quack for that. Sorry you feel like a sitting duck. And feeling under the weather. So I thought feeling like a sitting duck is one of those occasions, I don't know if you actually say it in America, but in the UK, if someone feels like a sitting duck, they think they're being got at, everything's coming on top of them, you know, they can't seem to avoid trouble. They're a sitting duck. 4 cards. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see them better. If it's in focus, that would help. Okay. So this one. Got some really, really pretty colours on here. And finally, that one. So I'm very pleased with those, and yeah, if I find someone who's not feeling too bright, they might just get one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.